And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. BMX After Dark. Episode number 7, technically.
7?
Number 7.
I've only been on 2.
Well, we did it before in the past, and here we started it back up again, and I felt like it'd be wrong to start it at 1 again and pretend like the other ones didn't exist.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so gentlemen, how you guys doing? Geoff, Meade, Kevin, Czuba. I'm going to put their names on the screen like I did last time. Geoff.
Yes.
What's up, dude?
I am doing well. I'm still wishing this. I was still living in this weekend currently.
I know.
How's that butt bruise doing?
Butt bruise is pretty rough because I went out yesterday with a couple of my friends and smashed it again. Because obviously you bruise the side that you spin to. So took another good hip check, and now I am back at square one.
Oof.
Probably should not show that photo on here. So
It was PG.
Yeah, a little spicy. So
the topic of the evening, the thing that caused that bruise, the Chenga contest. What do we have to say about the Chenga contest? Let's start it off by Kevin. I want to hear your favorite part of the contest.
It was an absolute blast of a weekend. The fact that Chenga wasn't slippery was wild. Like I basically have only ridden Chenga in contests, and to actually show up and not be slipping all over the place was absolutely rad. The best part of the weekend, I mean, just having like a whole bunch of BMXers in one spot, like everybody like just kind of like jiving together. It's like, we were doing the open practices and stuff like that. There was like zero animosity. It was like everybody was having fun. Like, I think that was really cool. Like that definitely stuck out to me, that just you had all these people just jamming and having a good time. So
that is a good answer, but I want a trick or something that someone did.
Oh shit. I mean, the Geoff Meade like backflip where he almost donked his head was pretty awesome. So
That was a Wild Bill special. I was talking to Wild Bill on the deck, and they called my name, and I literally like made him stop mid sentence, and the last thing he said was backflip, and I just dropped in and yanked as hard as I could on that tiny box.
That's awesome. I think I missed that.
Watching John Courts like transfer between the Spocks in that quarter, like forwards, backwards, then to fakie lander, like that was just like just a machine, like
very Nate Wethel vibes, like the old Etnies videos where he's just doing that transfer across whatever Etnies jam that's at, like heavy vibes of that.
Yeah, just heavy landings, just very
I think I'm part of a very rare percentage of BMXers that can say that they've competed against the person that made their bike.
That's funny.
That's rad.
I literally was thinking about that while we were like on the floor there. I was like, I'm actually riding against the guy that made my bike. Like
oh god, he's kind of like, oh no, halfway.
And I've been to a handful of events with John, but usually Chenga is like when we get to compete against each other, which is still mind-blowing to me that like I look down and I'm like, well, I wouldn't be having this much fun if it weren't for him.
That's so awesome. Yeah. He's like above your boss.
It's highly... Well, how old is John? John is what, in his 30s still?
I think John might be a year or two older than me, and I'm 38, so he might even be pushing 40 if anybody can correct me here. I actually have never asked him that.
See, that's the biggest flaw. Is like we got this 30 plus, so like you got these guys in their 30s that are still fresh, and then you got us old people that like have to compete against them. It's really not fair. So
Well, it's actually funny because this was my fourth year of doing this event, So when I started, I was kind of one of the young bucks. You know what I mean? I was one of the guys in their early 30s, kind of giving the older guys a run for their money. And now I'm like slightly venturing towards like the 40-year-old group. You know what I mean? And like, it's one of the only events that I think in my lifetime that I've been able to say that I've like traversed age groups in order to like keep competing in.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Young Seed said Jake Calhoun, MVP of the Chenga contest.
Yo, Jake, oh my God. Jake is like, he rolled up to me and was like, hey, should I do like this into this? And then he like mentioned the same thing, like vice versa. And I'm like, dude, if you do that vice versa, nobody's going to mess with that line. If you do it the first way that you told me, people have already probably done that in a run here before. And he was like, oh, yeah, you're totally right. And then executed without any flaw. Like that, the double whip over the spocks and then rolling back around and doing the Superman seat grab out of the quarter into the, I refer to it as a battleship, like the quarter next to the fly out quarter next to the vert wall. And then just cranked it. And I was like, so proud of that guy.
Well,
Geoff.
How about that? Like, was it caveman bar spin drop in, or the hell he did off the hitching post? That was bonkers. I saw him earlier just doing like the jump, and it was like, oh, that's gonna be cool. And then he threw the bars, and it was like, what the hell?
Jake has this like mix of creativity in with his powerful technical park riding that is like it. Like he's only 19 years old. You know what I mean?
What?
Like, yeah, he's only not like when we added him on the team, like I remember because he's on Tech Bico with me, just to verify for people watching. You know, it was one of those like I remember getting like, oh yeah, Jake's from New Jersey, you should ride with him. And I was like, yeah, we're friends on Facebook and Instagram. And then I'm like, I just saw his prom photos, like recent prom photos.
What you said about that was so funny. You said you saw them while you were like scrolling, and then you saw that they were posted like 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, he like that's not like prom like revisiting. That's like recent prom photos, you know. So like there's a 20-year age gap between Jake and me, you know.
It would be awesome. a lot weirder if we were scrolling your Facebook and saw prom photos at release.
Oh my God, like I was still on MySpace when prom was a thing, barely even. You know, you had to be in college to be on Facebook when I was graduating.
Wow. Geoff, what was your favorite part of the weekend? Or the day?
My favorite part of the weekend, and this is going to be a little biased towards Tech Bico, was adding Nathan Powell to the team.
Yo.
Ooh.
Like, not only is Nate like a truly powerful tech rider, but like absolutely one of the heaviest hammers that could be thrown in the Midwest right now in our age group.
True. Big facts, buddy. Big facts.
I will also jump into like what Kevin said, and I'm gonna kind of quote like the Jason Enns interview that like, you know, that he just got on S&M. Just riding bikes with your friends is effing sick.
Hell yeah.
You know, like just showing up in the parking lot. I got out of the car and I dished out like 10 hugs and 5 high fives like immediately. You know, just being hyped to see people that I literally only get to see during the Chenga contest. You know, like I'm from New Jersey, so I drive 6.5 hours out there, and usually try to like this year I brought as many people from New Jersey that complied to come with me, and just getting out of the car and just being able to experience it for another year in a row it melts my heart. You know what I mean? Like I love walking into that room and you know I walked up and Huck's dad's running the table, and I look down and I get to like scan who's here already, like who's signed in. Then I get to run out back to the parking lot and see who's outside, and it fills me with joy.
It's nonstop fun. Yes.
What a good description. What did Jim and Taylor have to say about the contest after when you guys left?
Well, Taylor and I ride a lot together, so I will admit there was a couple of you know, like at one point, I think I threw something during my run, and I looked at the man, and Taylor was like, "You did my trick," you know. But Taylor and I ride, you know, 4 days a week, you know, together. You know, so we Like one of the reasons I kind of opted out of the Ride On Facebook group challenge this year is because if we both filmed video parts, they would have both been the same spots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're constantly riding together, you know. And that was Jim's first Chenga experience. So I'm pretty sure he left there with like a really good. And to be dead honest, he left there being like, I'm gonna build a Flatland bike. Like we went
Nice.
upstairs for like 2 hours. Like, not gonna lie, I went upstairs during like the expert group because I don't personally have any like attachments to anybody that was in the expert class. No offense to any of them. I'm sure they rode hard, and I can't wait to watch it in the recap video that you make, Brant. But like I went up there and like pretty much on the drive home, he's on eBay like trying to source like free coaster wheels and getting like, you know, like I'm hooking him up with a Colony Flatland frame that I have because he's got like a new love for Flatland.
It's funny. I think Jim's always on eBay. Like even when we were at dinner, he's like, "Look at this."
Oh yeah, yeah. He practically built like a whole poverty bike on the way there. Just like, hey, look at this. I'm gonna save this. Hey, look at this. I'm gonna save this. And
You'll see on the flip side, that's why I wasn't upstairs with you during the expert class, because I was watching the expert class because, you know, we actually had 3 people from Buffalo show up, which
oh hell
was
yeah.
pretty awesome. So we had Matt O'Connell and we had Ricky McHenry. And basically it was his first contest, like his first park contest. He did Flatland last year at Flat Assassins, and you know, this was his first like, you know, contest. And it's awesome to be able to bring people to something like that and like have it be their first time.
And I keep forgetting that Matt's not in the 30 plus class, so I digress from my earlier comments. Matt's one of my favorite people.
He is older than he looks and acts. So
and acts. That's funny. So let's see. We had 3 people from New Jersey, 3 people from New York. Were there any? Did anyone else?
Buffalo, very specifically. So
yeah. Alex, the format of the contest was every rider got a 30-second intro run that counted towards their score. Then there was a set amount of time on the clock, and it was like an organized jam format where it was like, all right, we're going in the order that the people were introduced, and when they mess up or they're done with their little run or trick or however they want to use that time, it's the next person's turn. And then after time runs out, no matter where it was at in the order, it went through the order one more time.
Which was nice. It kind of kept it organized versus like you have to like fight for a spot. It was I dug the format. So and I liked
and Chenga's layout is unique to the fact that like there's kind of like if you don't mind me calling it this, it's like there's kind of a big tombstone in the middle of the room. You know what I mean? Like unless you're incredibly talented, it's kind of hard to traverse from one side of the room to the other. So that's kind of one of those, like, if you have multiple people out on the course at the same time, it is incredibly hard for judges to get an eye on what's going on, like back near the mini, but then like over near the vert wall on like the Euro step up on the other side. Like it's kind of hard to keep eyes on. I think this year's was very on the rider side of thing instead of on the time side of thing.
Yeah, and it still didn't rush.
But it ran smoothly.
Yeah, it went really well. And to add to the judging comment, judging is very difficult if everyone can go whenever in a jam format, especially somewhere like Chenga, but it is literally impossible to film and catch everything that way.
Yeah. I mean, some parts might go ahead.
Brant, you were probably the busiest person in that room besides Noah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Especially because you have that little like tripod spot in the middle where like you just have to constantly be pivoting 360 degrees.
Oh, dude.
Because who knows where anybody's going to go, especially once you start getting into like the, you know, like the 30 plus or like the pro class, you know, who knows where any of those guys are going to go, you know?
Yeah, you got to be on a swivel. It worked out, though. I missed a few things here and there, especially towards the beginning, because there was like 10 people standing up there with me, and I was just like trying to do what I could, but for the most part it was good.
We got to get you one of those drones with like the goggles.
With the Miller High Life goggles.
I was gonna say, speaking of the beginning, seeing like a bunch of little kids out there on 12, 14, and 16-inch bikes, like getting out there and getting there. Some of them probably their first contest experience was really cool. Everybody was stoked for them. I would have liked to see like a little more like fanfare for them, like some more clapping a little bit and stuff like that. But that might be something just to work on in the future. So
I'm still dealing with my like voice right now from this weekend.
That's
like it's Wednesday and I'm still dealing with like my voice being absolutely thrown out from like yelling as much as I could during like the beginner, especially like even like it's funny that you said that, Kevin, because there was a couple of dudes in our class that this was their first contest.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I
want to go back to
I'm slipping his name right now, but the guy
Glenn.
that he was done riding.
Glenn.
He was he was on the Gold Harrow. I helped him. I put air in his tires earlier. Yeah, he hadn't been on a bike in years, or whatever like that. It was like
you put air in his tires because he hasn't ridden in years.
Yeah, that was that was awesome. Like that was so cool. That like, I mean, yes, it's brave for the kids to come out, but to be like an old dude and come out and just be like, hey, I haven't done this in forever, and like put yourself out there on display. That takes some guts, man. So
see,
absolutely.
when you're a kid, you kind of have a little bit of like, if you, I don't know, the only way I could put it is like horse blinders on. You're kind of just there to, compete against the other kids that are in your class, or to impress your parents, or you know what I mean, like just even something to do on a weekend. When you're a grown ass man and you're out there and you know that there are eyes on you, especially when it's like your peers or people that you don't know. That could be really difficult mentally for somebody to, I'll admit one of the biggest things that killed my age group of riding is that none of them want to ever ride in contests.
That sucks.
I wanted to make a comment about the beginner and the kids side of things that was really cool for me, is that 3 of the kids who were in that contest are kids of people that I ride with on a regular basis who are entering their first contest ever, and they all had a blast. They were all mega stoked that they got something. Like Jason, my buddy JT's kid, he got 3rd, so he had prizes. And then it was really awesome of Trevor to do the honorable mentions for the other 2, which were Sponge's kids, and they were super stoked on that. And then I don't know, it was just cool to see like them getting a kick out of it. And like Sponge told me earlier in the week that neither of them would tell him if they were going to enter or not. Like I don't know if they knew, or if they were trying to keep it a secret, or what the case was, but yeah, he's like, I don't know. They're kind of just, they won't tell me yes or no.
The honorable mentions was an absolute like chef's kiss.
Yeah, it was
like
perfect.
That's something that I wish they would do more, especially to get like even just that couple minutes of recognition will give that kid a lifetime of courage.
Yeah, and especially for beginners, and the beginner classes, I think we talked about this like in regards to Flatland as well. That's where the focus needs to be for a lot of that stuff. Like you said, the words of encouragement, and toss them a set of grips, throw them a sticker pack. Like they'll even like something minimal. They're walking away with something for their effort. They feel good about it. It's like, and they're going to want to come back. Like if they only hear 1st, 2nd, 3rd place and no mention of their name, it's kind of like, well, I don't know how I did. So, I'm not going to show up to the next one.
Especially if the kid like recognizes like Trevor and is stoked on Trevor from seeing him at Ray's or whatever the case might be. And then it takes this time to be like, hey, I know you didn't win, but like you still did good. Here's something. Now it just takes it even further. It's not like some random dude. So if you get people who you look up to that are stoked on the fact that you entered a contest at all or were there, like who knows how far that could go.
So going as far as you could know, I will admit that like growing up riding, like I started entering contests when I was like 15 or 16 years old. I was young, you know, and I had a little bit of extra courage. I was kind of one of those kids that was a little cocky growing up. But like I constantly think of it this way is like look around and meet and hang out with those kids because those are like when you're a kid and you see those other kids in your class, you're probably going to be riding with them if you stay into it for the next 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brandon, I think I've told you this before. Kevin, you may not know, but like that's one of the reasons I know Dean Watson.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dean and I have been going to contests together since we were little kids. Same thing with like Geoff Kosix. Like little
That's
Geoff
cool.
Kosix from Animal. Like we've been
Oh my
like
God.
I met him in a contest when he was 13 and I was 16 years old. And we've been friends like I'm 38 and Jeff's 3 years younger than me. You know what I mean? Like
Lifelong
those are the guys that
friends.
you're probably going to know if you stay in the sport for like maybe the rest of your riding career.
And maybe the rest
I
of
think
your life.
Yeah. And people that I look up to and respect, especially like get excited to see because sometimes depending on where you live, that's the only time you're going to be able to see and ride with them. And then you can catch up, see what they're working on, see how they're riding. Like that's also like something about contests that I think should get brought up a lot more is that like look around at your group before you guys start riding. These might be your friends for like, especially in BMX for maybe the rest of your life.
Maybe we should talk about that more too and just trying to get more kids to go to a contest to hang out with those people or meet more people like that.
I,
yeah,
th- I think it's a slightly
go to contests
overlooked.
to your friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a slightly overlooked thing that, like, and then parents can get into it too. Oh, hey, do you guys want to get an Airbnb together? We can keep all of our kids together. We could travel to Colorado. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
hey, you guys are from Buffalo, and the rest of us are from Maine. You know what I mean? Like,
All
that
from
that's how like the lifers happen.
all from potentially just being in the same place at the same time.
Doing the same thing.
Yep. And they don't even have to necessarily be riding in the contest. They can just be there watching. Be like, oh, your kid did great. My kid rides too. Is just nervous to be in the contest or whatever the case might be. And then those connections could happen.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, say you don't even think about it sometimes that it's like you're going to show up at a contest, or you're going to show up at a jam, and you're going to land up walking away with, a lifelong friendship, or like somebody's going to know someone, and it's like, oh, hey, it's like you get introduced to like really cool people. It's like this is such a small community to some degree that I don't know where I was going with this, but it's like, there's so few of us and we're kind of spread out in real life. But when there's these opportunities to converge somewhere, you're going to build some really awesome lifelong friendships, I think. So
One of my absolute favorite things about events that draw people from everywhere, like the one example I can think of off the top of my head is Woodward Adult Weekend. Whenever they do BMX weekend and at Woodward, I absolutely love those moments of realization where I'm standing there, like on the Rock, I think is that outdoor park by all the cabins, and everybody's hanging out on their porch, and I'm looking around and I'm like, I know people from that cabin, that cabin, that cabin. That's New York, that's New Jersey, that's Florida, that's North Carolina, that's California, and I know all of them. And I'm like, dude, I know everyone here right now, and we're all friends. And this is the best fucking thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love those moments. And then my second favorite to that is introducing all of my friends to all of them. So everyone gets to know each other from everywhere. It's just the best thing ever.
I mean, that's how Kevin and I know each other.
Yeah. I didn't know Geoff from nobody, so
And he's only a state away. You know, like
how did I meet you? How did that happen? Chenga?
I think Chenga. I think my first year at Chenga 3 years ago.
Yeah,
We've
probably
known
Brant
each other. We've
somehow.
known each other online, but that was the first time we met in person.
That is, yeah, you're right. You're right. So,
Yeah,
and
it's
you continue to beat me year after year. You damn kids. You know, you got youth on your side, but you know,
that's funny. I'm gonna
I can beat you in one way, Geoff. I can do this.
Oh,
Ooh.
I got a serious collection of BMX hats that could make you jealous.
That's funny. I'm gonna make both of you pick a single favorite trick that happened at the Chenga contest.
I'm gonna go first because I really I've never gotten a chance. So every time I've ridden with Sponge has been very like last minute kind of like chill session.
Yeah.
So being able to watch Sponge, even though like he had his kids there and he was probably like, you know what I mean? Like not at a hundo, if I could say, even though like his riding at 100% is it, you know, it's an unbelievable, but like Sponge's lucky to over
Yeah.
on the hitching post was one of those where I'm like, you know, I've seen videos of Sponge. Brant, you've shown me videos of Sponge. I've ridden with Sponge a couple of times, you know, but like watching him kind of just do that so recreationally was just like it made me be like, dude, respect, like
Yeah.
hell yeah, like kids, your kids are there, you know what I mean, like, and you're just like, oh, you know, it was so casual that I was like, dude, respect. Like you're running this place right now.
That's awesome. That's super awesome.
Uh,
Do you need a second, Kevin?
no, I mean, I want to say the Superman peg grab that
Jake.
The Superman seat
yeah
grab, peg grab?
yeah that was yeah that's like that was that photo that you have is just so Cameron Birdwell, like just like I don't know, it just looks freaking awesome. It's so freaking cool.
It's yeah, that was gonna be mine too.
Yeah,
I was
it's like
gonna
that
say
that
one of my favorite Brant Moore videos of the year was the Power Hour with Trevor and Jake. Like I actually walked off the floor at my job to go watch that in the bathroom and its whole thing. Like I literally just sat in a stall and was like, I'm watching this all the way through. Like I don't care if I get yelled at.
That was
I can't even wait. I can't even wait for lunch.
that was over an hour or over a year ago now. Holy cow. That's
That
crazy.
was one of those where like my attention peaked and I was like, yo, I really hope Trevor asked him to be a part of the team because like a glove. He just kind of like set his hand in that glove and I was like, dude, he's come on, put him where let's hold him over for a little while because he fits here really well.
yeah. I
I
mean,
I was
I can't wait for Brant's like video because you document things so well, and I'm not just kissing your butt for this. But it's like to see to see stuff where we are from a like spectator standpoint, but like when you're filming it, and I'm actually just watching right now, like Caleb's like double peg to like pressure like tail tap to like 180 off the
mm-hmm.
hitching post. I mean, like the angle that you have, it's like, dude, that was bonkers.
It was
Yo,
crazy.
okay. Caleb is a hammer in a room full of nails.
I hope he
And
shows
also
up
like
tonight.
and his consistency, like how consistent he rode the entire time. Like I think he only slipped up like a couple of times during either one of his
Yep.
couple of runs, you know,
Yeah.
like other than that, it was just like boom, hammer nail, hammer nail, hammer nail. And like and that's like it deserves respect. Like Caleb is dialed.
Yeah, he's super dialed. To go back to Jake and the Superman seat grab, peg grab, we cannot talk about that without talking about the context of it happening because that was during best trick and it was probably more than halfway into Best Trick. And Noah was announcing, and I don't think Jake had taken a run yet in Best Trick. And Noah was talking crap on the mic about how Jake hadn't done anything yet or something along those lines. And Jake immediately, I can't say if he said anything, but what it said to everyone else was, all right, watch this. He dropped in and did that first try without like any kind of warm up run or anything. Nailed it.
That room also probably hasn't seen that trick in a long time.
Or ever. Maybe it did over a resi at some point, but like, dude.
I mean, this is going back to our previous callback to our other BMX After Dark. Like, I don't think you'd find a modern park rider that's a contest rider that would do that, because that is a high risk, low reward trick, but it's fucking badass.
The only one would be Boyd Hilder.
Yeah, it's not a spin, it's not an inverted trick, but it's like, it looks so cool.
You couldn't be any further away from controlling your bike at that point in the air.
Unless you grabbed both pegs with both hands, there is no other way.
If he would have thrown a bar spin in there, it probably would have been a bit more impressive. But
well, the only other person that's probably done that is Butcher or Cameron Birdwell.
People are gonna look back at 20 years from now and be calling tricks the Jake Calhoun.
and you know what? I cannot wait. Every day I ride with him, all I could think about is, holy crap, I cannot wait till he freaking gets there. You know what I mean? Like,
yep. We have to pause.
And he's on his way. There's nothing stopping him. Like, that avalanche has already been kicked.
It's been set in motion.
Kurt Schmidt just sent in $10 to our chat.
Ooh.
Thanks, Kurt.
Just wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you, Kurt Schmidt.
By the way, Kurt Schmidt, I know I told you to sign my helmet when I was at Nowhere and then I never saw you again. I'm sorry about that.
He hasn't slept since that day.
But actually, speaking of some of the older style riding, this weekend was the first time I ever rolled away from that foot jam whip to decade. I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
You were fighting that one for a bit there.
I did it practically with, like, my foot never touched, but my foot stayed off rolling away. But I tried to do it again. I tried to clean it up during Best Trick, and wound up I was exhausted. Like, at that point, my hip, like, I could feel that my jeans were tighter because of hip checking the ground.
Because of Jake doing that Superman seat grab, peg grab? Is that why your jeans were tighter, Geoff?
Yeah, my jeans were so tight.
No. Yeah.
I never seen you do it. Yo, holy crap. Another person just sent one in. Johnny Cinco. Thanks, dude.
The last time I tried those, Brant, was probably when you came to Penn Skate for New Year's.
You were trying them on the spine. I forgot about that. Was the street session when we were out riding before that? On that concrete bank? I couldn't remember.
Yeah. And that was never really, like, my feet never really got back on the way I wanted it to. So it was kind of like an Oppo decade drop-in. It's not good on a wedge. It's a way better spine trick. And I'll be honest, I ripped off Rob Ridge trying that, but it's one of those, like, I've just always wanted to put the two together.
Well, you're real close
you're just too cool, Geoff. I'm sorry.
Let's see. So what else about the contest? It was kind of also sweet to see Aiden Reed nail that 360 backflip that I can't remember if it was last year or the year before that, when he did it on the Spocks during Best Trick. He looped out and hit his...
2 years ago.
He bodied himself, didn't he?
Yeah, majorly. 2 years ago, and he did that while I was standing right there, and it scared the crap out of me.
Oh, dude, it was horrible. He was yelling, and it was just bad, and he ended up being okay, but, like, it was terrible.
Yeah. It was also like the end of the day too. It was like right
Yeah.
before we started like shuffling out.
Yeah, and to see
Because he
him nail
landed
it,
straight tailbone, right? Like,
it was bad.
basically.
Yeah, and he nailed it perfectly in the middle of his run on the same ramp. So it was just like, oh, that's so awesome to see the progression of him and riding in this area in general.
Love it when riders can build a story like that, especially if you've been paying attention.
Yeah,
Like just watching somebody kind of go through the motions, like I always referred to it that way. Like, so I just got to put in the work. I got to put in the motions, you know what I mean, to make something happen. And then like when you go to see it from somebody kind of like hucking it to like having it dialed is like a proud moment for any rider to watch.
on that note too, to talk about how in previous years there were kids who entered beginner that were in intermediate today and ended up making the podium in intermediate, like Dean, I'm pretty sure got second in intermediate, and Dean won a beginner at a certain point. And then Sawyer, I remember Sawyer riding in it too. And to see these kids stick with riding and then also keep coming back to compete at this contest, it's really cool.
It's cool to see them progress and like, move up the chain. So
Yeah, we used to have a rule in New Jersey for some of the Jump for Joy contests. Shout out Hippie Steve. Is that if you placed a podium in any of the beginner, intermediate, or experts, you had to get in. You had to compete in the next class a year later.
cool. See you in pro next year, bud.
And that's why I am not entering the Flatland contest this year.
That was funny because when
Brad chooses not to run.
Yeah, when I went to actually go pay when I was there, Huck's dad was like, "Yo, you're in pro, right?" And I was like, "No." And then I had to go back and get cash. And when I came back, I was like, "Hey, like I need a couple of, I gave you this much." And he was just like, "Oh, I thought you were entering pro." And I'm like, "Shucks, is that a sign?" Like, oh, I had to go out there and compete. I'm like,
just
oh,
talking shit.
Geoff.
yeah. I mean, ultimately, it came down to like at the end of the day, I kind of like this is gonna sound conceited, and I hate to say it this way, but once I saw that Sponge was in the 30+ group, I was like, "Yo, I gotta ride against Sponge."
As soon
Like,
as I saw his name, I'm like, we're all fighting for second place.
Well, there wasn't anybody in pro that like I would have been like particularly fond of competing against. Because okay, Nathan Powell, yeah, absolutely. Like maybe on my best day, I could probably get 10th compared to Nate. And Jake, I ride with Jake all the time. You know what I mean? Jake's an amazing rider. But like after looking through the list, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to enter the 30+ group because I kind of want to ride against Sponge.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was hoping that him and I were going to be in the same heat too.
Oh yeah, that would have been good. Nope. Geoff, give me your best 30-second champion BMX ad. He just sent in $10 and said Champion BMX is for the people.
If anybody is ordering anything from Champion BMX right now, save 10% by using code Geoff10, GEOFF 10.
There you go. Champion BMX. Thanks for the
Tell him Geoff sent you.
Tell him Geoff sent you. What else happened
You and
at
all
the Chenga?
you and all your sponsorships and your like,
You're so pro,
codes
Geoff.
and stuff like that.
Were you even eligible for over 30 since you have a sponsor?
Well, I mean, like I'm the TM of Tech Bike. I'm technically middle management right now, which I forgot that Noah actually brought up during my run. I forgot about the middle management there.
He's the volunteer middle management.
That is hilarious.
Self-sponsored. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Flatland side of the event, because I'll be honest, I did not go upstairs. I went halfway upstairs trying to find Trevor and then didn't end up. That was all I had all day.
So I had a renaissance with Flatland when I went upstairs, because I mix Flatland in with my park riding, yeah, but I only have a couple of people to ride Flatland with in New Jersey. So going upstairs and like being able to ride with strangers and then also like kind of learning like being learning the workings to start new tricks has kind of like bumped me back into that mindset that I'm like, there's a basketball court, like, see out this window? There's a basketball court, like, behind those lights over there. Do I go and ride Flatland there? Never. Because I never, but after this weekend, I just even like the fact of hanging out upstairs with everybody was like very inspiring. Like I was starting to work on opposite decades when I was upstairs.
Nice.
And if you know me, switch anything is like the biggest, probably vice that I have in my riding. But like, it was fantastic, you know what I mean? And even seeing who showed curiosity, like who wandered upstairs, and then all of a sudden was like, like my buddy Jim that I brought with me. I've never seen the kid look at a Flatland bike or even bring up Flatland. And we generally on the drive home was like, he was like, I'm gonna build a Flatland bike.
That's so sick. Was there a bunch of people up there? I didn't even get to go upstairs.
So I was only up there kind of during like a period of time, like during expert. Kind of got distracted by like a lot of the people that I haven't seen in a while. So I was up there for probably about an hour or 2 hours. But I did see people kind of moseying up and down the stairs throughout the day.
Yeah, was there Flatland specific riders that showed up? Because I just didn't get a chance to see them if there were.
I think that there was a jam that was being held like the same day, so they kind of like kiboshed like normal Flatlanders that show up. Kim basically took residence up there, and she had two like semi-local girls, Tess and Reese. One of them just bought a Flatland bike in February, which is pretty cool, and the other one is hopefully buying a bike soon. So she basically was, holding court upstairs and like teaching girls Flatland, which is rad. But I know my Buffalo guys went up there and rode, and we're having a blast. Like I saw Geoff up there with his buddy, and it's that upstairs section is not usually open to the public.
Yeah,
and it is just wild. I don't understand like how it has so many eclectic things up there, yet it is also so organized. It's not like you think with having that much stuff around, oh, it's going to be dusty and whatnot. It's not. It's somehow, I don't know how Scott does it. It's bizarre.
That's one of the things I told Jim after riding around up there. I was like, hey, being up here is kind of a big deal. Like, I know you're here during an event and it's like open for the public, but like, you have no idea how much history has kind of happened here.
Yeah.
Like, and on top of it just being like the coolest man cave ever, or human cave.
Yeah.
Like Flatland cave, if you will.
Ooh, Flatland cave. That's good.
Ooh, I like it.
Geoff, I'm pretty sure there's still a mostly full Miller High Life on the side table beside the couch in the living room right now.
I'm really sorry about
that. just feed it to the crickets. So.
Oh, really?
Did any of us get that Bee-Weiser that was in the fridge? I think I forgot about that.
I don't think it's ever gonna get drank.
I'm gonna drink it next time I come down there.
It's like 3 years old, dude.
And also speaking of this weekend, thank you so much for hosting me and my friends.
Always.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Times. Kevin and Kim could have stayed too, but they just decided they wanted to be in a hotel. I wonder why.
Oh,
where
long distance.
Where
you guys D&D players?
You buy a Flatland bike? Can we answer that question?
Flatlandfuel.com, baby.
Are there complete bikes made for Flatland?
Yes, sir.
Actually, one of the girls that was riding upstairs just recently got a complete Flatland bike.
Yeah, she had an Aries.
Okay.
There is, hang on.
We the People has been pushing one right now.
Yeah, We the People has like it's a very reasonably priced one too.
They show it without brakes, but it actually comes with brakes.
It does, and it's an aluminum frame too, which is wild.
Ah, interesting. $500
yeah.
for a complete Aries. Thank you, Kim. Kim is in the chat.
Yeah. Flatland Fuel has a couple of complete bikes, ranging from like $500 up to like, actually they got a whole bunch of like Haros that are up there in price too. But you can get a La Best Steel for $500.
So, Kevin, real quick, I don't want to linger on this too long, but if someone did hear us talking about all this and wanted to look for a Flatland bike, what questions would they answer to decide which one?
I mean, generally speaking, Flatland bikes are a bit shorter in the top tube.
Yep.
You're generally going to want like 4 pegs, a gyro or brakeless.
Yeah, how do they pick which one they're going to buy? If there's 4 $500 Flatland bikes, how do they know which one to pick for them?
Pick which color you like.
Is it not
essentially
like
at $500? You're very much. This is the same answer that I'm going to give somebody that if they were asking me about mountain bike advice. It's like, hey, I want to buy a mountain bike for my kid. It's like, we saw these 3; they're all $500. I'm like, I can guarantee that they are all ridiculously similar. This one might have a slightly better crankset, but it's going to have a worse something else. So it's kind of like just a trade-off. It's like, this one has aluminum pegs and this one has steel pegs, but this one has sealed bearings, this one has loose balls. So it's
I asked the wrong question. What things about these different bikes would actually have an impact on you riding them, between if there's 4 that are the same price? Is there any does the top tube length matter that much if you're just grabbing it?
I would ultimately choose whatever comes with seal bearing in the wheels.
Okay.
Like something that you could take your wheels and move on to the next bike if this is going to be your gateway bike. Like if this is going to be your first Flatland bike, I wouldn't worry too much about the frame, fork, or bars. I would be worrying about the stuff that you're going to transition to the next bike. If you were to get something higher end, maybe like a frame set or, going along those lines.
Okay, I think that answers it. I don't want to linger on it too long. I just wanted to quickly answer if someone might have wondered.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, like, they're very, very similar. And it's kind of like buying like an entry-level BMX bike. If you're buying an entry-level $500 BMX bike, like Geoff said, pick the color you like because they're pretty much all going to be very, very similar.
Okay, well then let's move on. There. Let's see. What else happened this weekend that was great? I love our family dinners.
Wanking Lizard, yeah.
It's always fun whenever we get to all sit at the same table there because they're able to accommodate 12 to 15 people.
That show up last minute without any phone calls or reservations.
No, I walked in and she's like, "Oh, how can I help you?" And I was by myself or just Victoria at that point. And I was like, "Well, it's going to be at
table for 12."
Yeah, I was like, "It's going to be at least 12 people." And she's like, "Oh." I'm like, and what was funny too is that she's like, "Oh, well, we got this or whatever." And I was like, is the stage open so we can all sit together? And she's like, "Yeah, but it'll be a little bit of a wait." I'm like, "How long of a wait?" "Well, 20 to 25 minutes. Of course we'll do that.
Yeah, that's enough time for everybody to get there.
Yeah, so. I was like, nobody's even there yet.
And some of those dinner tables have been real strong.
Dude, we've had some awesome people that we've went out to dinner with.
From Big Daddy to Vic Murphy to, like
Eddie Roman, John Quartz, Mad Dog, Benassi Wicks, however you say his last name, Banana Sandwich.
The Beard.
The Beard.
Oh, wow.
Matt Bischoff. Like, we need a list of all the people that we've had dinner with there.
I have seen Brant eat ribs at the Winking Lizard a number of times. So.
All right, then.
Hey, if that's the only place that serves 32-ounce cups of beer, I'm going to keep going.
That's funny.
Yeah, I wish I would have known I could have gotten the 32 in the cider versus the 22. It's like, man, come on.
It's not on the Saturday special, my friend. You can only get Michelob Light.
Ugh. Ugh.
Was there anybody who surprised you at the contest?
I think mainly because I don't get to see him ride a lot, but Aiden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Only because I'm out there once a year and I get to watch him ride once a year. So it's kind of exciting to see him like grow up with BMX.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I watched that kid trying to ride our trails when he was 13 years old and didn't even have enough weight to keep his momentum going.
And also like just I mean Ryan Taylor, my buddy that I came down there with, he's probably 47 now.
Yeah.
That was the first time in my life of knowing him for probably I'm 38, so I probably met him when I was 16 or 17. That was the first time we've actually ever competed against each other.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
He surprised me, actually, because, I mean, we rode Worcester Friday night, and he was trying that damn nose pick whip after the 5 tap, and I'm like, hey, just do the nose pick so you can get the line. And he tried it like 20 times, never landed it, and then we got rained out. And then in his run, he pulled the most perfect nose pick whip ever, first try. And I was like, let's go. When it matters, you got it.
Yo, like, and he's the one with the backyard ramp that I ride all the time. And like his consistency and passion for BMX, like I hope to still have it when I'm, as I grow older.
You will.
You know what I mean? Like he is a major inspiration, especially in like New Jersey. Like even with like my buddy Jim, he would like randomly pick kids up like street riding or from other towns and bring them to skate parks, and like that's how we all kind of he's a major contributor to our scene.
That's so sick, and I love that. I love people who are major contributors to a scene. That's
and he can also spar really good. Like
you
no matter what you're
You guys
working on,
fight?
he has something close, or he'll make you work harder for what you want.
Oh, I thought you were talking about fighting.
No, spar. He'll spar on the BMX bike with you. Yeah.
Just kidding.
There was a pair of brothers in the expert class that were really good. Like,
Oh, you're
the one
talking about
dude was-
Seth and Blake Udy.
yeah, like
Yeah,
watching that, I
Udi's.
was like, wow. It's like, I think it was a crook to like, was it a helicopter where they do like the bar spin?
Oh, that was
Frankfurt?
he did a feeble to helicopter on that.
Okay,
on
yeah.
that
Either way, that was freaking awesome. I was like, damn. It's like, and there were a couple things they were throwing out, very, very street style, and I liked it.
Dude,
It was
so
very cool, so.
Blake entered expert and won, and then Seth entered pro. And dude, Blake legitimately only messed up 2 small things that he did. He did a rail ride to whip on the same rail that he did the feeble helicopter. He did a feeble grind up the A-frame, and then a crank flip, and then a feeble grind down the A-frame, and just stuff like that. He's had all these really hard tricks that he landed first try.
Is he a local there?
I mean, I'm sure he's ridden Chenga before, but he's not going to Chenga all the time. He's probably like good 40 minutes from here and from Chenga.
Wasn't Seth part of? Were there 2 Seths? Because I thought Seth was part of Caleb's scene.
They both are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I met Seth at one of the. He was riding like an 18-inch bike. He was at the Apple Creek Jam.
Oh yeah.
So like I get to see Seth once a year, and even though like we don't talk at all, but I've actually pretty much enjoyed the same thing as before, like just watching him kind of like grow up and progress, and also having Caleb as like a mentor-ish kind of character in his life.
Absolutely.
You know that kid's gonna start like really, might start getting to like a Jake Ruckowitz kind of mentality where like he's just gonna be young and good, and he's gonna kill it wherever he goes, and that's like
just throw hammers.
That's unbelievable. It's awesome. Like it's a good step forward for BMX. Period.
Yeah, he's only like 15, and he just absolutely kills it. He's been learning crazy new stuff almost every time he rides, and he'll post the new tricks. Like, it just doesn't even make sense. The game of bike that I posted from the trails last summer with him, he did a whole bunch of stuff in that game of bike that he had never done before on a dirt jump.
Yeah. And he's dialed. It looks like whenever he learns something that he's got that like muscle memory that can like keep it going. And that's like also a very inspiring attribute to have for somebody his age, you know, like.
Yeah. Yeah, he's super good. How about Huck? Huck killed it too.
Oh, yeah.
These damn kids know low center of gravity and parents' health insurance. It's not fair. It's just not fair. It's like
Presley too. Presley brought 2 bikes.
He literally, dude, that was the funniest thing ever. So Presley's riding his bike with no pegs on it, doing all his jumping tricks, and then you look over for his next like run in the jam format, and he's sitting on a bike with 4 pegs. You're like, whoa.
I should have totally done that.
That would have been awesome. And he thought that
4
through.
pegs as he should.
Similarly, you had Matt, who started with his intro run with no shirt on, and then when it came to the jam format, he's wearing a shirt, and you're like, is this a different person?
And then during best trick, I almost kill him. It's perfect. So
I think he almost killed you, dude.
Dude,
no, I was totally fine.
I watched him like a transformer, turn into a plank of wood. As soon as he bunny hopped, he just like straightened out like a pencil and just backslid down. And I was like, dude, that was the best case, worst case scenario for like an on the fly doubles.
Like
I will tell you that there was a high degree of miscommunication as to what was required during that. Now, the thing is, we have done that trick before. Like at Breaking Free on the Mini, it's like I can get into it, and then he basically he like carved by me and was able to like kick the bars. And all I wanted him to do was basically come up the spocks and either like hand spank it or kick it. I didn't know he was going to jump from the box jump. if it would have hit, it would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, you know what? We had a good time. We got a bunch of people to laugh. Worth it. Worth every penny.
That was my like, as soon as I saw you guys starting to do doubles, I like immediately gained an extra bit of like attention. Like, what is Kevin doing? What are Kevin and Matt doing over there? And thank God it's not me.
your knee was safe this time.
Oh my God.
I literally tightened the strap on my knee pad as I was watching you guys ride.
Thank God it's not me. That is hilarious. Yeah. That was definitely a fun highlight of best trick. And it was fun to watch all that. And I swore that Jake had best trick nailed down with his first try Superman seat grab, peg grab. And then Caleb, in the end, Caleb came in and took the dub.
At the buzzer, basically, too. Like,
it was after the buzzer. Noah was like, all right, that's it, we're done. And I was like, no, F that. Go again, Caleb. And then he was going to go again regardless, and he pulled it.
It was inspiring. Caleb had that look on his face that, like, even if the whole room cleared out, he would have kept trying that.
Yep.
Yeah, true.
You know, and that's one of those where I'm like, bike goes down on the ground. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to sit down and grab my metaphorical popcorn, and I'm going to watch him shred.
Hell yeah. That's what it's
fair
about.
Enough.
Also, that JR kid who got, I forget what he placed, but he's the one who did the manual to X up across the gap. He did the crank flip toboggan. Okay. He's in the chat. That crank flip toboggan is crazy over that spine. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
There was some wild crank flippy stuff where I'm just like, God damn. It's like,
Sponge was texting me earlier in this week. Oh, hold up. We got Huck Kurinsky, the Kurinsky fam, jumping in here, sending 5 memberships to people.
What?
Yep. Thank
I was
you.
pretty hyped on the photo of him and Trevor earlier today,
Oh,
where Trevor was nose picking the wall and he's kind of like in the like that was so cool.
here, yeah, that was a cool one. You could tell spur of the moment, fun stuff. What I was getting ready to say is that Sponge told me earlier. So JT, my buddy JT and Sponge, who had the kids that were there, they were both in the old school class, and JT told me that he and Sponge had a who could do the most crank flips competition before their run. So that's why JT did a million crank flips in his heats. And Sponge told me this week how he and little JT were talking before their runs about how, and he was saying how he was kind of nervous or something. And JT was just like, yeah, let's just see who could do the most crank flips then. And I was like, yeah, I think he won that one. He's like, yeah, he did so many in his first intro run that I didn't even try a single one. Also, the Kurinsky
Shut him
fan
down.
just said, protect Geoff Meade at all costs.
Fine. I'll go easy on his knees.
Geoff Meade is the eighth wonder of the BMX world.
Oh, stop it.
You're going to give him a big head.
I'm over here drinking Miller High Lifes and chain smoking cigarettes. I ain't that important.
Yeah, well, I think you should be doing that in Ohio.
I know, Brant. We all need to move to Ohio.
I'm never going to stop.
I always joke about the, what is it? I can't think of it. One of the first couple of times I came out there for Chenga, you guys had like the intervention for me at the end of the night. Where it's like everybody went around and like told me why I needed to move to Ohio. And I was like, did you guys plan this? Like, is this an intervention? Like, are my parents going to show up for this? Like, I don't know what's going on right now.
Geoff, we've been talking.
And we all talked earlier today, and we all think you need to move here.
You need to move out of New Jersey.
Get rid of those, or get away from them sinkholes.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about it. It took me an hour to get home, and it's like a 20-minute drive.
What's round on both ends and high in the middle? Ohio.
I was going to say Kevin Seapost.
Kevin Seapost. That's funny.
Hey, now.
So, ultimately, fellas, Chenga contest was a success.
Yeah. I think, well, going back to, I think the video that you posted right beforehand, show up. Like, show up. Yeah. Show up for your scene. Show up to these things. Like, even if you're doubting, like, oh, man, it's like, should I go? It's like, yes, you should go. Because I can't understand how you would show up to something like the Chenga comp and not have a good time.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I dare anyone that was there to like hop in the comments or whatnot and say like, you know what, I didn't have fun.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be pretty hard to say that and being truthful.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it just appeared this way or what, but when you watch like videos from old contests, it feels like there were tons of people there.
Well, there was no internet back then. People didn't have stuff to do, so
that's true.
They had to go out and interact with other humans.
Ew, gross.
Totally.
Yeah, it's one of those also like consumable information. Like back then it was like if somebody posted a flyer, you know what I mean, for any BMX event that was in driving distance, you went.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, well, this weekend 19 different things is happening because now I have access to the internet and 19 different, I have access to 19 different things. It was like, oh, Chenga's happening. Like, oh, Woodward's happening this weekend. Oh, Chenga's happening this weekend. Like.
Yeah. That's true.
It's like we're almost inundated with stuff and then we don't do anything.
Well, I'm sure there's people who are in that boat too. Either way.
But no, it was a good time, and it's like, and here we are talking about it afterwards. I mean, we're a couple days out, and we're still riding the buzz from it. So
I actually have ridden every day since I've left that weekend.
Holy cow. That's awesome.
So some mountain biking happened in between there. So not all BMX, but I probably haven't had a day off of riding since 2 days before I actually showed up in Ohio.
We get it, Geoff. You like BMX.
Yep. And some Flatland sessions have happened. So
wow, look at that. That's awesome. Oh, also people can just watch events online now instead of having to attend to see what happened. That's a point as well. Even no matter what, with all this stuff, if you're able to go to something, like you don't have something else going on, go. Just show up. That's it. Just show up.
It's just like Crazy Carl said about the Nowhere event. Like, hey, make it. You know what I mean? Like, make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
When he was telling me that somebody, like, I made the excuse that I couldn't make it out there because by the time I started driving there after work, I'd be there to, wave goodbye to everybody. He was like, somebody's driving down here to go to a wedding and then driving back for the event on the main day. I was kind of like, wow, man, maybe I should really get my hustle culture back together.
You're doing pretty good, Geoff.
Geoff, you just need to be independently wealthy. That's
Dude,
all.
I've got more miles on this car that I currently have than any other vehicle that I've ever had, specifically because since November, I have gone at minimum once to Ohio every month since the winter time.
I appreciate you for that.
Similarly, in the last 5 or some odd years or like that, I have traveled more for BMX than I have in my entire lifetime, and it's like I wouldn't trade it. It's amazing. So many good people. So
I actually joke with my girlfriend all the time about going on an actual vacation. I'm going to be like, I don't know what to do unless I bring my bike.
Oh, that's not even a joke, dude. That's real.
If you say that you want to go on a yacht or something like that, if you want to do I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna freak out. Unless I have a destination that involves me cycling in any way, shape, or form, I don't know what to do with I've actually never crossed state borders in my adult life without my BMX bike in the backseat.
Does the island we're gonna park at have a bowl on it or
Yeah.
It's very funny is that I had the conversation with my buddy that was over for dinner, and we were talking about things, and he's like, people actually have hobbies that are sedentary that they relax and do, like knitting and reading and stuff like that. He goes we throw ourselves at the ground. It's and that's fun. And it's yeah, it's how do you do this relax thing? How do you go and Geoff said, go on a real vacation and let's go and just sit at a beach.
What?
Yeah, exactly. And what?
Are we gonna ride? Are we gonna ride to the beach? Can we ride down the boardwalk?
And not start twitching because it's well, what do we do? It's
yeah.
And by the way, Brent, I owe you and Victoria a beach weekend in New Jersey at some point. So
one day we'll drive out there again.
Oh, hell yeah!
It's not bad. I do it all the time.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do.
I'm actually surprised to say that this month coming up, I have nothing on my radar besides a couple of small local events, and it's the first time where I've been man, I don't know what to do with myself this month because I don't have a trip planned.
It's funny that even Jim is starting to get into the go to Ohio every month thing. He was saying how you guys have a couple things in May and you're we're trying to think about if we could get here before those two events happen. Oh, it was before Rumble in Richmond and all that.
Yeah, I lied because we actually have Woodward and the Rad Chair event back to back at the end of this next month.
Yeah, he was saying something about how we might try and come to Ohio between now and then. I was like, dude, that literally means it's either next weekend or the weekend after that.
Yeah, and Woodward's a piece of cake. Woodward's only 3 hours away from me, so it's that's not even a vacation. That's just this is where I'm going to go today to ride bikes, you know?
Right.
Like
I feel
that
bad.
could be a day trip if I but Richmond's also 6 hours just south. So that's like a full weekend, you know, kind of like I can't do 6 hours ride and then 6 hours home. It's just
No, we're not.
Brant's basically 3 hours away from me. Now I feel bad for not getting down there more. So.
We're not all built like Kyle. Kyle, I don't even know how he does it.
Baby Kyle just built a full new bike, and he's barely ridden all winter. And I got to watch him ride yesterday, and I was like beside myself, just like sitting on the deck, listening to music, kind of just playing with my phone and like recording him. And kid's my local sponge.
Yeah, he really is. I've seen the dude ride. He's got it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anything else about the Chenga contest, fellas?
Any final thoughts? You know,
I'd like to give a shout out for Noah for announcing the whole day. Did a great job. Killed it. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure
he kept it professional. So.
Only canceled himself a couple times.
Yeah, remembering people's names throughout the day and trying to say last names if two people have the same first name. I'm sure that's like, you know what I mean? Like internally difficult to do. And I feel like he handled it with, you know, a good buzz and, you know, a simple grace of being able to accomplish that throughout the day. And he kept a pretty damn good, you know, mental high of keeping everybody hyped all day.
Yeah.
He kept it very lively, absolutely.
It was a really good job by Noah, and then also a really good job by Trevor once again organizing this event and just making sure everything was in place to happen, and the event went very smoothly. So also
it's an absolute labor of love. I mean, like I can't imagine the amount of time that we did not see that he put into this. So,
and if you don't follow Trevor Watchering on Instagram, follow him, because not only does he do awesome events like the weekend that I just had, which was stellar, he's also an absolute hammer of a rider and a super, super good dude.
Yep.
Like the best.
Yep. He's a really great person, cares a lot about BMX, and just an awesome dude. I want to also bring up, because I forgot to, that I guess this could be a great way to close out. There were no major crashes and no serious injuries. Dude who jumped that thing to flat, tweaked his ankle a little bit, but was still riding throughout the day. So nobody got actually hurt. Everybody had a good time. And
well, I don't know. Sponge, you know, kind of harmed me mentally.
Well, your pride doesn't really
made me realize I got to step up my game considerably if I'm going to compete against Midwest legends.
Well, you just got to remember when you're there, like, even if he's not there, like, oh man, what would happen if he was?
I actually look over my shoulder every time I enter.
What would I do?
I look over my shoulder every time I see the Welcome to Ohio sign. I'm like, where is he?
That's funny.
What would I do if Sponge was here?
Yeah.
That is great.
What should I do if Sponge was here?
Well,
I thought that lawnmower ice on the hitching post was going to seal the deal, but I guess not.
Dude, he literally, I don't know if you were paying attention because you were riding, but he literally he did his intro run, then he started in one section of the park for one run, went to the complete opposite side of the park for his next thing, then to a totally different, like he rode the entire skate park.
Yeah, he definitely had more park usage than myself, and I also kind of waved off my first run.
Yeah, that was a mistake, Geoff.
It wasn't. I kind of like I was gonna get lost if I kept on trying to ride. You know what I mean? Like it's I only get to ride that place once a year, so I don't really have lines there. I kind of have like one thing after. Yeah,
that's okay.
When I come down now more for Rays, I gotta sneak in a Chenga session to make sure I'm on top of my game for Sponge.
That's funny. Well, fellas, I think we've had a good recap for the Chenga contest. If
Appreciate it.
If and when it happens again next year, make sure you go. Make sure you tell your friends about it. Make sure that we build this thing up and keep it going. Keep Trevor stoked enough to want to keep having it.
Next year will be my 5th year going to this event, so I'm gonna make sure that I give Kevin a run for his money again next year.
Let's go.
I'm just gonna keep coming up with weird shit that nobody understands, and then I'll be happy. So,
well, next year I'm gonna come up with weird shit that you're not gonna understand.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you, Brent, for having us. We appreciate it. So,
and Brent, I want to give a shout out to you for covering the whole event and pushing it the entire time, like earlier, and like making everything happen. And went smooth, and I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be really happy seeing the video coming out, because that's also something that inspires people to come and keep coming. Is the constant being able to be seen and noticed, even especially by your channel and everything that you do.
Thanks.
Yeah,
that's what I'm here
gives
for.
us old folks something to look for. Basically something to look back on once we're all old and decrepit, right, Jeff? So
yeah,
that is what I'm here for. And
one day I'll be like, I competed in best trick against Jake Calhoun,
and then Caleb Oney beat our ass.
And then Caleb Oney whipped both of us.
All right, boys. You have a good night, and everyone else,
take care.
Have a good night.
Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining. Thank you for the super chats.
Let's go. Yes, thank you to
BMX After Dark. Let's keep it going.
Kurt Schmidt, Johnny Cinco, Champion BMX, and we will be back next time with BMX After